We're going to dive right in with picking up where we left off the end of last week. So last week we had Aurora Borealis, Northern Lights, visible all the way down here, Cape Cod and further south. I went to Bass Hole, aka Gray's Beach in Yarmouth Port on Cape Cod, and there was 200 people there. So I had said at the end of last week's show that night I was recording, my buddy Steve and I were going to go out to the outer Cape, Eastham, Wellfleet, Truro, where it's darker and further north. And if there was some residual northern lights, we might see them. Well, we didn't see any northern lights. So I think I spoiled it at the end of last show because I edited it after that day. But yes, there was no northern lights. Nauset Light was great. You can see the long exposure shot. And then we just kept going further north. Whitecrest Beach in Wellfleet, finally up to Highland Lighthouse in Truro. I love Highland Lighthouse. It's perfect for sunrise, sunset. What ended up happening was we went up there. There were no northern lights. So Steve was kind of like, I'm all set with getting out of the truck. He had driven his truck. So I said, fine, I'll go walk out to Highland Lighthouse, get a couple of long exposure photos, and then be back. So at least we got something out of the trip. So I'm hustling. It's several hundred feet from the parking lot at the Highland House Museum, which is on the same grounds. For those of you that know Cape Cod, it'll be familiar. For those of you that don't, it's like I might as well just have Google Maps pop up and then show you. See the arrow? Yeah. So I'm hustling to get out to the lighthouse, get a few photos using my selfie stick that's over there with my ring light and my phone. And I'm walking pretty fast. I hear nothing. I do hear a couple of coyotes, which had me on my toes. But I got out there. As soon as I turned around to face the lighthouse, there was just some dude there, some big shadow standing between me and the way back to the car. And so I turn and look, and I know it's not Steve. And he just goes, "Hey, what's up?" Just this quieter, creepy voice. And I'm like, oh boy. And then he said, "Think we're going to see the northern lights?" And this, mind you, I'm all by myself out there. I could have yelled, no one would have heard me. And so I'm like, I don't know. I'm here to take pictures of the lighthouse. And he just says, "Oh, I'm going to go look over at the bluff." So he walks, it's like another 200 feet to the edge of the bluffs. There's fenced off. They had to move the lighthouse years ago because the bluffs are receding. So I'm now, again, facing the lighthouse. I've got long exposure on my camera, on my phone, and I can hear in the distance the crunch because he's walking back along the gravel pathway. And I'm literally standing there, kind of bracing myself, like, be ready if he charges you. And he's walking, and I'm listening. And finally, he just goes, "Have a good rest of the night." And he keeps walking. And I'm like, "Yeah, you too." And I watched him get out of sight. And I took a few more pictures and kind of breathed easy. But it was one of those things. I got back to the truck and I'm like, why didn't you tell me there was some weirdo creep stalking behind me? And Steve said he really didn't see anyone. I think he was paying attention to his phone. I wouldn't expect him to be my babysitter. I chose to go out there.